Hello and welcome to the Royal Court Young Playwrights Award. My name is Oli Forsyth. I am a writer here at the court, and today we are going to be talking about dialogue. First things first, what is dialogue? Put simply, dialogue is the words the characters say to each other. It's how they interact. And there are some examples of plays without dialogue. Physical theatre, Samuel Beckett's Acts Without Words, or Cow Deer, which is going on at the Royal Court shortly. But the majority of plays you read will use dialogue as the main form of interaction between characters. And the good news is you are constructing and using dialogue all the time. If you need something from a friend or you want to buy something in a shop, the chances are you are using dialogue to articulate what you want. Now, in previous workshops, Tiffany, Beth and Ryan have all talked about constructing scenes, structuring your story and creating characters. If you haven't had a chance to watch those, do go back and give them a look, because they are key to making sure that you are writing really interesting stories with strong characters and some exciting central conflict. But once you've got all of those essential ingredients together, you are still left with a very big question, which is, what do these characters say to each other? So, in this workshop, we are going to do a few exercises to try and find out. Now, time for exercise 1. What we're going to do is dream up a little bit of your story. Now, I want you to think about the play you have already started writing. Get it in your mind. And then I want you to think about a scene you haven't yet written that involves 2 or more characters. I need 2 or more, and I need them to have an idea of what they want and how they want to get it. This can be something as simple as 2 characters are on a bus and they're debating which stop to get off at, or maybe 2 hungry people open a fridge and there's only 1 apple, or it could be something as big as 2 supervillains are plotting to take over the world. It's really important that you have a clear intention for each character and an obstacle to getting what they need. Get that in your head. Now what I want you to do is to take your pen, stick it on the page, and it is not allowed to leave that page, because for the next 3 minutes I want you to write what happens in that scene. Ready? Go. Okay, let's get into exercise 2. Now that you have got your story written down, we are going to have a think about how our characters speak. Now, the more you write dialogue, the better you will get at it. But in order to help start you off, what we're going to do is make 3 decisions on your character's way of speaking. Now, the first one we're going to do is vocabulary. What vocabulary does your character have access to? It might be that they know lots of big, exciting words, or it might be that they like to use very short and simple words. One character might say sure, another one might say certainly. One character might say, I am perspiring profusely. The other character might say, I'm hot. The reason that people use different vocabularies can be very varied, and it's up to you to decide. Maybe it is a new language for them. Maybe they're feeling nervous. Maybe they're in an unfamiliar space. Maybe they're shy. There is no wrong answer. It's just up to you to make a decision. So what I want you to do is take 30 seconds, think of all the characters in your scene, and write down what kind of vocabulary they have access to. Off you go. Okay, 30 seconds are up. The next decision I want you to make is about the length of their sentences. Do they speak in long, flowery, rambling sentences, or do they speak in very, very short sentences? Think about how the story you have written so far will influence the answers to these questions. These are very dependent on the play you have written. Now, once you have an idea of what kind of sentences they speak in, we need to think about why. Are they trying to intimidate someone? Are they trying to scare them? Are they trying to persuade? Are they trying to explain? Make some decisions. You have another 30 seconds. Decide how long your character's sentences are. Off you go. Great. The final decision I want you to make is about your character's rhythm. This is a little harder to nail down, but basically what I want you to think about is whether your character can clearly articulate what they want to say, or whether they stumble over their words, which can lead to a choppy and uncertain sentence. You have 30 seconds, off you go. Well, now we have got our story down and we have made some decisions over how the characters speak. I want you to try taking the story you wrote down in exercise 1 and telling it again, but this time using only dialogue. So to be clear, that means no stage directions, no action points, just words. Now, it won't be perfect the first time around, but what I would like you to try and do is, in that dialogue, tell me the answer to some of these questions. Where are we? Who are these characters? What do they want? What is standing in their way? What do they think about each other? How do they know each other? You won't get all of them in, but have a go. You got 7 minutes. Okay, now for exercise 4, we are going to be looking at subtext. Subtext is a really important tool when it comes to making your dialogue interesting and exciting. Simply put, subtext is all of the things your characters are not saying when they're talking to each other. Now, this might be because they're hiding something or because something is going unsaid, but it's a very, very exciting element of your dialogue. If your characters came out and just directly answered all the questions I gave you in the last exercise and they just started talking about who they were, why they were there and what they wanted, it would be incredibly boring, and people don't tend to talk like that. So let's have a look at an example of subtext. Character A asks, "Where were you last night?" And character B says, "With Nick." And A answers, "Really?" Now there's loads of exciting subtext we can read into that tiny exchange. Character A asks a fairly basic question and character B gives a fairly benign response. But character A's answer of "really" opens up a world of possibilities. Do they not believe B? Why might they not believe B? Is there history between them? Is B a particularly untrustworthy person, or is A a particularly paranoid person? It can tell us so much about these characters without having to spell it out for the audience. Now I'd like you to have a go. I want you to go back over the scene we just wrote, the one involving only dialogue, and I want you to have a look through and think, where can we use subtext? Where can we introduce information for the audience to pick up without it being said directly? You have 5 minutes, off you go. Okay, welcome back. Let's get to exercise 5. Now, for this exercise, what I need you to do is think up the next scene in your story. So to use some earlier examples, maybe those 2 people who were on the bus did decide to get off, but they are now realizing it's the wrong stop. Or the 2 supervillains who are planning to take over the world have, but now they're starting to fall out with each other. What I want you to do is think about the next scene where the characters have changed and therefore the character dynamics have changed. I'm going to give you just 30 seconds. Put your pen on the page. It can't come off. What happens next? Go. Great. Now that you have had a think about that scene, I want to take a look at 2 examples from Macbeth. We're going to look at Act 1, Scene 7 and Act 2, Scene 2. Here's Act 1, Scene 7. Have a quick read of it now. Now in this first scene, Lady Macbeth and Macbeth are discussing whether or not to kill a king. They are trying to persuade each other, and so their sentences are long, they are considered, and they are full of interesting words. He hath honoured me of late, and I have bought golden opinions from all sorts of people. Or, wouldst thou have that which thou esteemest the ornament of life, and live a coward in thine own esteem? These are eloquent people who are clearly saying what they mean. But let's have a look at what happens the next time they meet. This scene takes place immediately after they have killed the king, and suddenly their rhythm is completely off. They give one-word answers. They are confused by each other's questions. And why might that be? Well, it's because they've just killed someone and they're terrified that they are going to get caught. Did you not speak? When? Now. As I descended, I. So here we can see the same characters with previously established ways of speaking articulating themselves in totally different ways because of the events of the play. And how is Shakespeare communicating all of this anxiety and fear? He's using dialogue. So what I'd like you to do for this exercise is get writing your next scene, again using only dialogue, but paying special attention to how the events that have taken place in between these scenes will change how the characters talk to one another. You have 7 minutes, off you go. Now, our final exercise for today is about editing. It's really, really important that you are always going back over your work, always editing, always redrafting, always looking for ways to make it better. The truth is, every single time I start writing, what I do is I go back and I read the scene I have just written beforehand and I read it out loud, doing all of the voices. And I suggest you do the same. You will feel like an absolute muppet, but I promise you it is the best way to hear if your dialogue has colour, if it has tempo, if it rings true. And it will also, by reading it out loud, help you spot really bad dialogue that you have written. And I promise you, you will write bad dialogue. It's okay, just get rid of it and write better dialogue in future. So what I'd like you to do for this exercise is go back over the 2 scenes you have written today and have a look at how we can make them better. Are your characters communicating in a way that tracks with the story you have written so far? Is there information you are giving us that could be done in a better way through subtext? Go back over the scenes, read them out loud. You have 10 minutes or the time you have left to finish up. Off you go. Well done for all of your work today. It's been great talking to you. There is another video in this series on redrafting, so make sure you give that a watch. But until then, keep writing, keep redrafting, and keep getting your ideas down on the page. Best of luck.